leaders of the world. Welcome to Spread Love in Organizations, a podcast for purpose-driven healthcare leaders striving to make life better around the world by leading their teams with genuine care, servant leadership, and love. I'm Naji, your host today, for this special episode with Julie Rachline, serial entrepreneur, founder, and CEO of LallianSe. PhD in neuropharmacology and ESCP Business School alumni, Julie is a serial entrepreneur and former VC driven by passion for innovation and science. With more than a decade of experience as an early stage and growth capital investor in France and Europe, combined with 2 years as a headhunter, she founded LallianSe in 2015 and is the integrator CEO since. LallianSe Integrator builds the foundations for better health by relying on its community of experts, which offers outsourced management of key responsibilities to steer operations towards success, as well as hospital immersion with coworking spaces combined with dedicated events for innovation in healthcare. Julie is also co-founder and CEO of Braintail, leader of Invest Health, the commercial affiliate of EIT Health, evaluator for the European Commission with EIC programs, and independent board member of DTA Medical, Verdis, and Tech2Med. Julie, I am so truly honored and excited to have you with me today on this podcast.
Pleasure is mine. Happy to be here today.
I'm eager to hear more about your personal story and really what's in between the lines of your impressive leadership journey that you have until now.
I wouldn't call it impressive yet. Just give me a few more years. I'm lucky enough. I've had several lives in just one, which is hopefully not over yet. I started as a scientist, and then I was probably more curious about the outside world that I decided to start learning business. So I went to a business school where I met my husband, which is always good to have. And then I joined the venture capital world, trying to save the world with finding the right innovations and the right entrepreneurs. I've had the chance to be a recruiter, so life science executive search consultant for 2 years. And even though I've been absorbed into this investment journey, I've decided to join the dark side of the moon by being an entrepreneur, which is the case since the last 6 years now, and which is actually more than what I was expecting. It's we're choosing the people we work with. We can have the impact and hopefully in the end change the world. And that's the pleasure that we have working together with an outstanding team is really making things move forward by bringing healthcare innovations to the market.
You mentioned a couple of times saving the world. How would you define your personal purpose today, and how do you translate this in your company?
Excellent question. Saving the world always comes with what you can do yourself on a daily basis. And it's always by paying attention to what you can do to make things better, even if it's just with a smile, even if it's just with helping people. One very interesting leadership professor from the ESCP Business School, Philippe Gabillet, always tells that to have luck in your life, you need to be an opportunity for others. And I truly believe that this is a great motto to basically live with. So part of saving the world for me starts with being an opportunity as much as I can be to every single people I meet.
Yeah, that's powerful. Be an opportunity for others. And you talked about professor. I'm sure you've had different people that shaped and inspired you in your leadership journey, also experiences potentially. You talked about investment, entrepreneurship. What really shaped this leadership journey, and what are your beliefs these days?
Very interesting question. I would say three things. First one was when I was young, which was many years ago, as my kids would say, I used to choose projects over people. And that was very interesting, but I was getting very frustrated by not finding the right people and not finding the right situation where I could flourish and bring what I can bring to the journey. I've had the chance to meet outstanding personalities within this journey, and I've always been challenging about deciding to work with or for someone versus working for a project. And I've made several mistakes over, projects on which I invested myself very, very much, way too much probably, and which was not including the right people around. And I think that part of who I am now is also being able to choose people over projects, because good people always make better projects than, good slides. So that's exactly for me the I would say the first day of my new life is only choosing people over projects, because choosing the right people will always end up with outstanding project that will, generate from this.
I'd love to hear more about LallianSe and what you do for you with the company. And then we can discuss a little bit more the culture you have there.
No, of course. LallianSe is something that arose in my head, several years ago now, where I was frustrated as an investor of not finding the right resources for the companies I was investing in. Sometimes we have the chance to have outstanding entrepreneurs, but we don't have that much in Europe. So we need to find ways to compensate the lack of great leadership, management, and experience with just sharing the right resources. So what LallianSe is really about building up an ecosystem where we can help company and assist them by finding the right resources at the right moment with the right value proposition around this. Saying differently, LallianSe is a life science integrator. So we integrate healthcare products into the caregivers' mindset. We're immersed within hospitals. We have co-working space. We are setting up very close connections with MDs, with physicians, of course, with paramedics, with nurses, and everyone here at the hospital, just to make healthcare products better. And we also provide, which is actually our main activity, senior experts on a part-time basis to really help companies, grow and achieve milestones, create value over time with the right flexibility around. For example, just take an example. You have a company which is developing a drug, and the company is at phase 2 stage, where they are eyeing, phase 3, and it's just, a single product approach. They need to have medical direction, but they cannot afford to have one full time. And to be honest, if you find the best medical director ever, this is someone that will most likely need to be fueled, need to be challenged with high intensity of new projects, new ideas, and you might not be able to provide that kind of approach to that kind of person. So what we do is that we take the brain of this medical director and we shape it so that it actually is compliant with what the company expects, so that this medical director can spend 1 or 2 days per week with each of the projects he or she is working on, hence enabling to have more kind of a portfolio understanding of projects, which is sustainable for the companies because they pay only for what they use, if I can speak this way. And in the end, it's, what we are very cautious is the mindset and the philosophy about the people and the company we work with, is that this is not consulting. This is about doing things. This is about really acting as. So it's, just about, not just about skills or people that know how to do the job, but people that are really endorsing the responsibility and the leadership within the organizations.
And I loved how obviously you have this as the core in your company as an integrator, right? So I don't want to jump into discussing the pandemic, again and again, but my feeling, I can but say we saw for real, unfortunately, you believed way before that integrating all the different healthcare stakeholders will bring better outcome for everyone, right? Industrial, academics, etc. What did you do? What did you take out of the pandemic? Do you see things change now on how we will actually really co-work between institutions, hospitals, pharma companies, biotechs, etc.?
That's a very good question. I can only speak for what we've been experiencing, and what is very positive is that time is now aligned. Time within the hospital, time lapse, scheduling, emergency is very different depending on who you're talking to. When you talk to a startup, it's cash. So cash is driving every decision that you're making, and you need to, move forward as fast as possible, which is definitely not the time lapse that you have within a hospital. You need to be very efficient when it's about patients, but not when it's about organizations. And the key learnings that we've observed, I would say after, let's be optimistic and see that it's behind us, after the pandemic, is that scheduling has, how can I say this? It has the same meaning if you're a startup or a hospital or a patient, because everyone has been aligning their mindsets towards fast scaling, accelerating of healthcare innovations, taking risks, accepting that zero risks is not an option when it's about science and when it's about new opportunities, but also being able to say that you failed, which is something that I think many people have learned, including physicians, including nurses, including healthcare systems, but they failed and they've been able to do something differently in a very short period of time. So that's very positive because it means that first it's feasible, that we've did it, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again in other, hopefully less critical situations than the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, we really need to take this as a learning moving forward. Like we literally can, as you said in the beginning, change the world, right? Like by putting our hands together and move forward.
Yeah, just changing the world by acting differently would already be a first step.
I'd love us to move into a section where I would be asking you, I would be giving you one word, and I'd love your top of mind, idea that comes, and then we can discuss it.
Sure.
So the first word is innovation.
Innovation is everywhere, is a mindset, and is a way of being resilient. It's probably something that is always, it's not always breakthrough, it's not always high tech, it's not always, it's not just a few people that can innovate, it's probably something that everyone can have in terms of spirit, in terms of decisions. It's not about just deciding that you will be innovative, of course, but it's about being open and letting your intuition talk. It's about listening to details, always paying attention to very little details, and always asking yourself, how can you transform this into an opportunity? Just to, put this opportunity thing on the table again, it's also about thinking, how can we change this situation into something that is interesting for something else?
What about leadership?
Leadership, it's about, I believe, being an example. So if you say something, you have to be showing what you're saying. And it's most importantly, I believe, being aligned with your very deep inner values. Who are you and what are you aiming at building needs to be visible in how you behave. So it's also about aligning your vision, your values, and your daily behavior to make something that is just fair to everyone and showing who you really are to the outside world.
The last one is spread love in organizations. Any reaction on this?
I always like to think that, I love sparkles, I love fairies and unicorns. And it's not just about being a girl or being surrounded by pink flamingos, because here at Allianz we have pink flamingos everywhere. It's really about deciding that you can be positive, and that being kind, being nice to someone, to any type of situation, is something that is important. Deciding who you're working with, and decide, forging the relationship based on what people can share, and the energy that they also are sharing with you is very, very important. And so far with l'Alliance, we've only been able to really work well with clients or with experts or with partners that share the same values, that share the same positive philosophy, I would say, that share the same love, of course, of others, but also of healthcare, of innovation, of trying to change the world, and accepting that you don't have, all the resources yourself, and that you need to do something that is collective, and that it will, lead the journey. I don't know if that answers, or if you have, comments on this.
It definitely does, right? Because it's starting with loving, as you said, like one another, loving what we're doing, and being passionate about the purpose of improving healthcare, right? Like this is what you're doing while co-working. So it definitely does. And thanks for that. Julie, as you look forward now, as you said, like some of the learnings you're taking, well, from all your journey, but also the accelerated way things have changed on cowork last year. What are for you, or what is for you the main opportunity looking forward in healthcare as an integrator, that you would say, yeah, if you will be making a huge impact by doing this?
That's a very challenging question. Just being able to deliver products on the market, transforming innovation onto economic success is probably what we can do best, because economic success is the consequence of any type of product or service that will bring value to its customers, to its users in the end. And I believe that part of our job is really to be able to integrate all stakeholders' expectations when it comes to healthcare and life sciences, of course, into the adapted development path for any type of innovation. It's about delivering some value for users, patients at some point. And if we can, continue to bring new products to the market, because we're lucky enough, we have been working with more than 1,000 products that are on the market. We have a portfolio of clients which are working on more than, I believe, 20 or 22 products under development, either very early stage or ready to enter the market, hopefully very soon. in very diverse therapeutic areas. The objective is really to increase that and to never lower our expectations in terms of quality and excellence of what we can deliver. So it's not about, providing just another something to the market. It's really about providing game-changing opportunities for patients and making money out of it, of course, because that's part of the ecosystem, is that you need to convince people that have the money that they should place some of their assets on your head or on your project. And it's also about making sure that while you're convincing the investors or the payers that you have the right solution, it's about building the right path for the entrepreneurial journey and setting up the right people around with, smile on everyone's face every single morning.
Yeah, definitely the smile, it starts with being passionate about why you do what you do, why you are waking up every morning, as you said, right? And in healthcare, biotech, startups, clinical development, pharma, all the different functions, it's just a noble purpose that we have, waking up every day and saying we're going to change dramatically the care for patients who need it. So yeah, I'm definitely with you on what we can change moving forward. Any final word of wisdom, Julie, for the leaders in healthcare around the world and the different stakeholders you work with?
Yes, of course. Be an opportunity first. Always think of what you can do for others before asking for something, and spread love as much as possible everywhere.
Thank you so much, Julie, for such an inspiring discussion today.
Thanks to you, Naji. Thanks for the invitation and for listening to this discussion.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you all for listening to Spread Love in Organization podcast. Follow us on social media and connect with us on SpreadLoveIO.com. We're looking forward to reading your feedback and reviews on your favorite podcast app. Most importantly, spread love in your organization.